Hey guys, it's advantageous. I have a replay for you. It is me and Tom Cruise's Ninja Baby against WoC BoatsanHoze and Cu.Roi. This is actually one of the first 2v2 battles I actually did. It's pretty good based upon the fact that these guys are ranked 3 at the time, and we still won. And pretty much the main theme of this replay here is fighting against an advantageous position. So BoatsanHoze and Cu.Roi, they were able to get way better position. They had the high ground, and we had to fight for it. So pretty much what we do, me and Tom, is he pretty much gets a load of Naginata warrior monks and a decent amount of cav, and I do pretty much the opposite. I get a bunch of lone swords and katana samurai, and I usually get some Naginata samurai as a way to dampen the blow against range. So that's usually our strategy, and we're going to use our cav in this one to cover our flanks. Now, Cu.Roi and BoatsanHoze, they actually have a pretty similar strategy from what I've seen. They have a ton of cavalry, they have a bunch of warrior monks, and lone sword Ashigaru. So pretty much they rushed this middle point here for the high ground. They pretty much want to stay here and camp this area, cap that sword dojo. And this being one of our first games, we weren't sure what we should do. We actually thought at first they were going to split up, one go one way and one the other. And I fell for that based upon their general going out here. So at this point, they have the high ground. They have the advantageous terrain. And we pretty much figured that at this point, they're just going to meet together all on there. And so what we were going to do is we were going to pretty much split up and attack on either side and try to push them in. Now, usually that's a pretty awful idea. If you do that, you split up your forces, and your morale boosts aren't really as, important. And you have a really good chance of having both armies flee in either direction because they're not as powerful of a force. Now, to overcome that, we pretty much used Tom's Naginata warrior monks as a way to stretch out the enemy's defense. So Tom's over here, and he's going to pretty much stretch out all his warrior monks this way to make the enemy's line as thin as possible. That way they're not able to cover as much. And I pretty much cluster together because my units don't have as much morale over here. And I will pretty much bunch together and act as a giant melee ball and push through the side. Now, the other thing we do is we separate our cavalry, and we're gonna try to surround them on both sides as much as possible. This way, they're always on guard, and they always have to keep some units back. That way, when my melee ball comes in, they're not fighting as many units. And same for Tom. I mean, he's pretty much stretching out the enemy with his cav, so he can stretch out the defensive line here easier. And since he has warrior monks, he doesn't have to worry as much about morale. Now, Tom does something really, really awesome over here with his cav. He really tricks them pretty good. Unfortunately, he does end up losing his general in the process, but he's able to take on a bunch of his cav and pretty much kill them all. I mean, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cavalry units here, and I don't know if he brings in that Great Guard unit too, but I think he only kills him with 2 Yari cav and 2 Great Guard based upon positioning and the fact that they get caught up on a warrior monk. And I'll show that in a minute. Now, I'm coming around this side. I'm going to pretty much just melee ball in, use my matchlock monks to, lay down some fire, scare some guys. And here's where it happens. He brings all of his cav in, and he gets snagged right here. Now, Tom pretty much moves all the way up to the shore and leaves this one unit out here in the water. So as they're going up the shore, Tom's going to turn around and attack. And they can't get any charge damage, and he has the warrior monks coming in to clean them up here. Now Tom does mess up when he tries to bring up his general over here to support his men, but it's not really as detrimental because he has warrior monks, and warrior monks are so strong in terms of morale. Now my melee ball's over here, and pretty much I am only taking on a couple of lone swords with my whole army here, and I am able to do as much damage as I possibly can. And at the same time, I also brought in all my cavalry to attack his, just to be a distraction, and it worked out pretty good. There's way less units that have to fight over here, and I'm going to make all of his army over here buckle and falter before his general can really help out. And at the same time, this whole line of defense made was killed by Tom's warrior monks. So his remaining few here are just over here to help clean up. And Tom has this huge ball of warrior monks and cavalry here that he was able to use to war cry earlier to scare everybody away. And at this point, I'm really just able to surround and attack any guy at will. I mean, I even have a guy here just chilling. It really doesn't matter at this point. I mean, they still have both their generals, but that's really all they have. Warrior monks are deadly. I mean, they can take out whole armies. And if you can use lone swords or just regular sword or katana sword units, they will tear it up in terms of damage. So as long as you keep them together, they're going to work well together. Naginata warrior monks are way more well-rounded, especially since they did not have any ranged at all to defend. And I was pretty much able to shoot their generals away and end the battle that way. They had no chance at this point. We pretty much won the battle here, and it was a decisive victory. We have so many units still, and they really didn't have a chance after you know, that big loss of cavalry down here. So if there's anything to get out of this, warrior monks are beast. Melee balls are really effective for trying to get up on you know, advantageous terrain. They never got that sword dojo. It never helped them one bit. Alright, so that's the replay. Melee ball, Naginata warrior monks, and just general movement of your cavalry is critical. Run them around, and you can end games just by catching their guys off guard. Alright guys, thanks for watching.